Welcome back. This is Chapter 3, putting it all together and fully automating your workflow. Okay, we've got our first two actions that we've created set up here with all of our wedding effects, which is lovely. But we still need another one just to get our image away from this PSD format and flatten our layers for us. So we want a new action here. I'll call it flat. And start the recording here, flat JPEG, and hit record. I'm going to come down to layer and flatten image. And then I'm going to come down to file, save as. I've got a folder set up called flat JPEG. Make sure your format is JPEG format and hit save. And this will allow us to have our images ready to go to be exported to CD or sent off to our printer. So we just OK there. And all of our changes have been saved in our new action called flat. So we can now stop that and hide our image for a little while. So to create these droplets to automate the system, we still need Photoshop. And we're going to come down to File, Automate, and Create Droplet. We're going to choose what to call the droplet. The first one is levels, so I'm going to call it levels and place it on the desktop. The set it's going to play is levels adjust here, and the action is levels, and that's OK. If we come back to our desktop, our droplet has been created. And if we drag an image onto the droplet, it doesn't have to be one, it can be a whole folder full of images straight from the camera. Photoshop will open and it will run through the levels adjustment we created and save the image in the place we told it to save it. If we come back here, our image is now here. We then go through the same process again to create our second droplet. So File, Automate, Create Droplet for our wedding effects. So I'll call this effects on the desktop. Wedding effects is here. Soften, sharpen and add a vignette. OK there. And there's our second droplet. So we can then take the images from here and place them onto there. I like to keep these separately in 3 different folders because I can access my image at any time to go in and make changes to a certain image as the client requests. And then we want the same thing to finish our automation. We're creating a droplet. We're going to call this one flatten on desktop. It's running the set called flat. It's flat JPEG. And OK there. And then that is our third droplet, and the images from this one come into here, and this folder is then ready to go to be sent to your printer, burnt to a CD. So let's have a go with the final set. We'll take an image here. It doesn't have to be one, it can be a whole folder of them. Place it onto the first droplet. Photoshop will open and it will go through the levels that we've set up. We can then come into this folder and take the image that's been adjusted for levels, pop it onto the effects droplet, and it will run through and give us all of the wedding effects, the softening, the sharpening and the vignette, and save the image and close it down. And there you can see Photoshop's created the vignette layer. and closed it down. So then we can come and get the same image, notice the vignette on there now, and pop it onto our last droplet to flatten it and get it ready for exporting. Again, it will open Photoshop, flatten the image, save it, and close it down. And then we come to a flat JPEG. There's our final image. Saved as a JPEG. Levels are nice and bright and sharp there. A nice vignette. If I just come back to the original, we can have a look and check the difference. Okay. Let's just even those up so we can have a good look. So we've got this nice subtle softness going on. Nice vignette just to sort of pop in the edges. There we go. And it's just made a subtle difference, but really the finishing of the image is what sells it to your client. So do have a go and see how you get on. Alternatively, if you didn't want to have access to your image at each stage of the process, you can go through this tutorial again, and when you're setting up your actions, instead of stopping and starting and creating a new action for each effect, just keep going and record each action in turn, and you can go from starting, doing the levels, carry on straight through to the sharpening, softening, vignette, flatten and save, and create one droplet to run all of that for you. And then you can literally drag your entire camera full of images onto that folder and go from unprocessed to flattened JPEGs ready to exporting without touching the computer again. So do have a go and see how much time you can save with actions and droplets.